for marketing efforts to create leads, to create awareness, how important is brand storytelling in SaaS marketing, and what's the best way to tell a story? Would it be through video marketing, blog posts, or something else?
Storytelling is marketing. That's the whole principle of the ethos of marketing. And my recommendation in all of that is actually, interestingly enough, we've worked with lots and lots of brands when it comes to creating something of like a marketing test plan. And that would be the suggestion that I have, is create a test plan that allows for all kinds of different media, whether it's social or it's a video that's, a link embedded in an email, or it's something you're posting on LinkedIn, and take a look at those metrics that I mentioned before and get a sense of where it is that your customers are meeting you, and build upon that, build upon the baseline that you see, because not every channel is going to work for your particular audience.
Jenny, so you're senior director of business strategy, and you work for one of the largest cloud-based technology companies in the world, and you've been a marketing strategy consultant for the last 15 years, and you had the opportunity to work with multiple marketing teams across nearly every industry, including retail, and most recently life services, sciences, and healthcare. So I see that you have a master's in IT. What made you want to go into marketing?
Well, it's interesting. So, Chris, despite my best efforts to sort of stay in the front-end programming realm, which was a part of the IT program, and it was a job that I did for some number of years, but despite my best efforts to sort of stay in that, I kept feeling this weird draw to marketing, but marketing tech, and also sort of marketing tech services, which then gets like a little bit more niched. So it really just, I came by it naturally. Somebody once said many, many years ago, just sort of allow yourself in your career to flow where the water goes naturally. And for me, I think it was that. It's that, behind the scenes sort of nights and weekends, I'm the ultimate consumer. I mean, I'm that person that's like buying things that I see on social media, or checking out new brands, or downloading apps and just getting a sense of how they work. And with that, I think it's helped me translate what I've seen in my kind of day-to-day consumerism side to customers to make recommendations about, you certainly need a technology to empower a thing, but it all stems from marketing needs and marketing use cases. So honestly, I think I came by it pretty naturally.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good story there too, because with me in the legal background, I worked in there for 8 years, and the next logical step would have been to get into a law school, but I had no desire to do that. And I love the storytelling aspect of marketing and PR. So that really drew me in, and that's why I made the switch at the beginning of July from a paralegal to a marketing person, and I love it, and I'll never look back. So that's why I have
nice.
to learn from you a little bit. So thank you for that. But since I'm new to the industry, what are a few keys to success for marketing teams if you're like me, just starting out, or if you have a new product or something like that?
Let's see. I have sort of a top 3 in mind. These are recommendations that I have, again, just in having a chance to walk the halls at enterprise businesses all the way down to kind of small mom and pop size businesses. Number 1 is, and I would label this as probably the most crucial of the 3, it is to have a vision and goals in hand. And the nucleus of what the sales team does and what the marketing team does, quite frankly, really needs to stem from a top line senior leadership vision and goals plan. It's a little bit astonishing how many times I've worked with customers and asked a simple question of, what are your goals and objectives for the year? And I met with some tactical things. but I'm not presented with things like, well, we need to grow our organic customer base by 5%, or we need to hit a target of a sales conversion with our activities by 20%. I mean, that's not to say they don't exist, but I certainly would recommend companies of any size starting off a new year with coming up with your very top line vision and goals, and then allowing the teams to sort of cascade that amongst each of the practices in the business. So if there's the sales team, they need to come up with their plan for how to hit those goals and targets. And naturally, same with service, marketing. And it's going to be different how each team approaches it, but I really do think that helps the organization sprint together as a united front. The second one that I would say, in terms of success, is really around having great analysts be a part of your team. Hire good talent for this, and leverage technology and dashboards in a way that allows for real-time reporting that all of the business units can see. So again, this links back to sales, service, marketing, technology support, IT, whatever the facets of the business are. Set up your dashboards, allow them to be real time so that all the stakeholders can kind of see the same thing. Again, this is just so crucial to hitting top line goals and objectives. But it's another kind of astonishing thing that I find to be just a bit of a weakness in many businesses. It has a lot to do with manpower. It has a lot to do with the expense of having analytics. And then also, I think it has to do with teams having access to data, but then not having a really cohesive plan on how to use that and how to interpret the results. I know lots of great data analysts that are, they're sitting in quarterly review meetings and they're bringing great ideas to the table, but then there's just not really a traction or an adoption of what they're recommending. So that's bullet number 2. And bullet number 3 for success, I would say, has a lot more to do with this activity of listening to customers. Another very surprising takeaway I've had from working in the industry is many customer teams send out surveys. Maybe it's a post-purchase, or it's you've reached out to customer support survey. And a lot of times the intel that they get back isn't really used. It's not used by the customer service teams in the same way that it's used by the marketing teams, in the same way it's used by the IT teams. I mean, customers will tell you all day long where there are faults in the business. And my recommendation would be to have a game plan to take those suggestions and those recommendations to heart and weave them into your annual planning. So we've got these top 10 or 15 conditions or issues that customers are experiencing, and let's make sure that we've folded them into our annual run rate plan.
That's awesome. That's really good. Now for analytics, if somebody's starting out, would you say they should, just look at the Google Analytics to start out, or is there another tool that you would recommend?
There are lots of tools. I mean, I'm a little bit biased to Tableau personally, but Google Analytics also has a ton of fantastic features. Whatever it is that you use, so let's just pretend we're talking about email marketing as an example. Applying tracking tags to your URLs and having open time metrics, that's sort of a table stakes for that particular channel. And same could be said for mobile metrics and app metrics. So it's not just the digital channels, but I would make a recommendation of having your analytics dashboard set up in a way that you can see where the lead or the activity came from, and then where the downstream conversion was impacted. So are you getting more leads that convert via mobile messaging? Is it email marketing? Is it your print media? Is it social ads? And all of that can actually just be fed into a dashboard. There are lots of tools that can be used for that level of aggregation. And then the next step has to do with leveraging the data. So, find a tool where you can create segments and that kind of thing out of the data that you see in that dashboard, making life a whole lot easier for the downstream teams.
That's great advice. Let's switch gear here over for marketing efforts to create leads, to create awareness. How important is brand storytelling in SaaS marketing, and what's the best way to tell a story? Would it be through video marketing, blog posts, or something else?
There's lots of research in the wild to indicate, things like video do really, really well. And it's kind of a no-brainer as to why. We, regardless of your age, we as a people tend to gravitate towards TV and that type of media. So a larger screen to a smaller screen, we gravitate towards that. Hence the popularity and success of YouTube and Netflix and so on. So the data suggests that yes, video in any kind of format, whether it be a short clip or a reel on Instagram or a video that's created and put into, a YouTube kind of an environment, those do tend to really outperform a static content body of messaging. But at the end of the day, honestly, I think I would take a quick step back and just say that, storytelling is marketing. That's the whole principle of the ethos of marketing. And my recommendation in all of that is actually, interestingly enough, we've worked with lots and lots of brands when it comes to creating something of like a marketing test plan. And that would be the suggestion that I have, is create a test plan that allows for all kinds of different media, whether it's social or it's a video that's, a link embedded in an email, or it's something you're posting on LinkedIn, and take a look at those metrics that I mentioned before and get a sense of where it is that your customers are meeting you, and build upon that, build upon the baseline that you see, because not every channel is going to work for your particular audience, and not every media type is going to work for your audience. You may have, as an example, you may have an audience of very underrepresented minorities that don't have the same level of access to technology as a separate company that only has, a desktop or mobile app. So those would be my recommendations, is to create something of a test plan, dive into where your conversion attribution's coming from, and then year over year, just sort of improvise on what you see. And a sub bullet of that, Chris, and I'm sure you know this really well, doing your role, is please don't make marketing components your New Year's resolution. So that's a mistake many businesses make. They think, well, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to do it for a month and I'm going to see how it goes. Sometimes you get decent, kind of unbiased intel from that, but usually you don't. Usually you really have to create a longer term test plan and put all of your efforts into the different categories just to sort of see what surprising data may come out of that.
Yeah, that's good, because I'm starting to revitalize our YouTube channel that hasn't been used in years. And we created an intro video for our company, which has been put on our YouTube channel as well as our website. But I also wanted to play around with YouTube Shorts now, giving our audiences bite-sized 1-minute shorts, just to see how they perform. But like you said, not just make a New Year's resolution, have like a month worth of stuff. And if it doesn't perform the way I think it should, just let it go, because it's the life cycle of it. Just sometimes it takes 6 months to a year to pick up, So
absolutely. And your particular customer base may not know where to find you and how to access that information. I mean, I live in Atlanta, and I have countless examples of businesses that don't tend to update their website very often. And so those that are kind of a little bit more comfortable with things like Instagram kind of know, well, let me look this business up on Facebook or Instagram and just sort of see if that's where the updates live. And not too terribly surprising, that's where the updates live. So another part of this recommendation that I have is businesses are thinking about improvements. It's also make it really easy to find where you are. You can send out a whole host of emails to new customers and include the links and say, this is how often that we're updating our presence on these different social media channels. Find us on LinkedIn. Our website is always getting updated, but just make them aware, and help to try to meet customers where they naturally are.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I push out a monthly email, and we have this little bitty social media emblem, logos on the bottom of the email that nobody sees. So I probably should move those up and
Bump them up.
yeah, bump them up, and also bring awareness to them. Say, hey, follow us on LinkedIn, or follow us on YouTube, because nobody's on YouTube, because we never post anything on YouTube. So now we got to show them that, hey, we're out there. Start engaging with us there and check us out there.
Yeah, 100%. I think that it is fascinating, and I know that many marketing teams struggle with exactly the thing you're describing, which is having to be in so many places at one time. Which makes sense. The beauty of creating video content and snippets is the reusability of it. I hear this a lot from even enterprise marketing teams, where they'll say, well, we don't have the content or the creative for that. Meaning we've updated our website, but we don't have something in place for email. And my response is it can all be the same. Even if you as a marketing team feel like, gosh, we're pushing the same content on multiple channels, isn't that a little dry? It's okay. It's okay to do, actually, because not everybody's going to be visiting all of those channels.
Exactly.
And just the, leveraging kind of what you have, make it your own. And not all of it's going to translate. So, lengthy videos aren't going to translate on a service like Instagram or some other social media, but they will translate on LinkedIn, they'll translate on YouTube, and they'll translate on your website. So, yeah, leverage what you have. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm a big proponent of repurposing my content. I need to use one piece of content and use it in various ways. So to help me that way. With your 15 years of marketing strategy consultant experience, what is one of the most important lessons that you've learned over the course of your marketing career that you can share with me?
I am going to revisit. I'm going to revisit my bullet number one from before, and say, as we're heading into this new year for many businesses, some businesses were still standing in Q4, others just kicked off the new year. This is an amazing time to get senior leadership together, and map out that vision and ensure that it sort of spiders down into each individual contributor level. Even I really can't sort of stress that enough, because the importance of having the whole organization sprint in the same direction means you're reducing, bloat in the company, you're improving organizational efficiency, you are all hitting similar goals, you're sharing what's working and what doesn't. So I would say I'd revisit that again. And then, of course, the strategic planner in me says, revisit that every quarter, see how you're hitting those targets and goals, and allow them to move. So if you feel like in the new year, your particular company is focused heavily on, say, new marketing tactics or reaching your customer base in a certain way. And if you hit the next quarter milestone and you check in and say, so far these things worked, let's continue to enhance that. And as I mentioned before, let's not completely ghost the things that you're trying that are new. Just map that out as a part of your test plan. So I would come back full circle to the importance of having very specific, smart goals. Smart goals are important. You have to have something to measure.
Absolutely. And now, for people that may have just started in the industry, what are 2 books you recommend anyone should read about marketing that may have helped you throughout the course of your career?
Well, if someone is in the email marketing world, that's really the world in large part that I've come from. Digital marketing is a heading, but I've spent a lot of time sort of thinking about email marketing specifically. If anybody's thinking about that space, and if even if you run your own business, if you are a real estate agent, um, if you have a cleaning business, it doesn't matter. You're probably going to be sending emails out. And the number one starting place is a book called Email Marketing Rules, and it's by a guy named Chad White. He is an amazing writer about kind of email marketing best practices. And in my opinion, there are a lot of fantastic blog articles, and there's other supporting materials out there, but that's the number one. That would be my go-to. Okay. The second one might actually get a little bit of an eye roll for people that have been in marketing for more than a year. And it's anything written by Seth Godin. And Seth Godin, industry leader, he's now a professor and writes, I think he's written 18 or 19 books, largely about marketing. And they all have different flavors to them. And also, if you're into audiobooks, that's another really kind of great way to take that in. And there's one book in particular that he's written. It's called This Is Marketing. And there's an excerpt from it that actually I saved because I feel like it's such a good reminder day in and day out of ways that we can kind of think about marketing. And it's this, and I have it bookmarked on my computer. And it says, marketing is not a battle, and it's not a war or even a contest. Marketing is the generous act of helping someone solve a problem, their problem. It's a chance to change the culture for the better. Marketing involves very little in the way of shouting, hustling, or coercion. It's a chance to serve instead. And I cannot tell you how important that is, in my opinion, of a good marketing team's ethos. Because just because, your objective is to sell more cabinetry or mattresses or cell phone minutes, it doesn't matter. It's really about meeting your customer where they are and figuring out ways to be helpful. In turn, you often will hit those same business goals, but there's a flavor agent in how to get there without it being so heavy-handed and spammy. Yeah. So yeah, Seth Godin for the win.
I have that one as well as an audiobook, but I should get the hardcover, so I can highlight stuff because I keep forgetting, I run through it in the audiobook. I'm doing stuff and then I halfway listen. So I need to actually get the hardcover of it. So
Yes, this is marketing. There's just so many good nuggets in there that if maybe you read it and you're thinking to yourself, I'm not into any more business books. That's the starting and the beginning of it. I think you'll actually get a lot out of it.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. Another thing I might suggest, I know you asked for kind of 2 books, but another one that I might recommend, and again, you might get an eye roll from this because everybody's talking about it. Atomic Habits is a fantastic book for people who, we're living in such a different day and age now. There's a lot of remote work. There's a lot of people that still have to kind of get their work done in the day. Atomic Habits is a really fantastic book / resource for how to get more principled about your time, your day, content planning calendars, whatever it may translate into for you. Again, I know it's kind of an eye roll because it's been around and everybody's referencing it, but I suspect that that's for a good reason.
I've not heard of it, so I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, highly recommend it. You'll probably see on any good bookseller site, doesn't have to be Amazon, that it's always kind of a #1 bestseller.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that information. One more question. With this interview series, I'm always trying to find other marketers that may be able to share some insightful information like you did today. Is there anyone out there that you think I should talk with?
I love this question. And I'll tell you why. I love this question because it allows maybe for a little bit of like internal team soul searching. When I've had a chance to work on some engagements with customers, a big part of what I do is either workshopping or interviewing our customer and our customer's customer.
Mhm.
And a facet of that is spending time understanding who are these true advocates of this business. And, there are plenty of real loyalists for
Mhm.
any business. Again, I would reference, even if you have a very small business and you have 20 customers in your portfolio, you have a loyalist in that group.
Mhm.
And my suggestion is reach out to the most loyal
Mhm.
people of your business. Number one, they're going to tell you some very interesting and insightful things you may not know. Number two, it gives them a chance to kind of showcase their interest in your own company. And as you mentioned in the front of this conversation, I mean, people like to share things and share about themselves. So it might give one of your end customers a good platform to, I don't know, sort of vocalize their perspectives on the world. So go for your most loyal customers or advocates first.
That makes sense. Yeah, we have a user conference for our business in a month, and I put together the speaker profiles, and so I know everybody that submitted to wanted to be a speaker on our for our conference. They're fans of our product, and two, they're willing to share their knowledge. So I'm going to reach out to those guys for sure, and gals.
That's perfect. Yeah, you've got built in the hand raisers. You can't beat the hand raisers for any business.
True.
And so yeah, you've got kind of that built-in pipeline of not just people to interview, but also people that you could be have a part of your, loyalist board of directors. So, if you're a company and you're rolling out new technology, there's your pilot team.
That's true. That is absolutely true. Okay, Jenny, I really appreciate it. That's all I had for you today. And, I really thank you for your time.
Hey, Chris, it's been great to chat with you today. Good luck with the conference coming up. Yeah, I hope Hannon Hill is off to really great things this year.
They should be. Thanks so much.
All
Bye.
right, take care. Bye-bye.